Hello students, let's start with next theorem, which is maximum minimum theorem. Its statement is, let I is equal to closed interval AB be a closed bounded interval and let f is a function from I to R be continuous on R. Then f has the absolute maximum and the absolute minimum on I. So let us prove it. What is statement of maximum minimum theorem? What is given? I is a closed bounded interval and f is a function from this closed bounded interval to R. And again, what is given? This function is continuous function. Then we have to prove f has absolute maximum value on I and absolute minimum value on I. So for example, let us say AB. Suppose this is point A, this is point B. Okay, AB, this is interval I. F is any function from, suppose this is graph of function. F is function which is continuous function. Okay, this graph is continuous, so this function is continuous function. Okay, now you can see that this value is absolute maximum and this value is absolute minimum value. So we have to prove if f is a continuous function on closed and bounded interval, then f has absolute maximum and absolute minimum on I. So let us prove. Now what is given? Since f is continuous on the closed interval, I is equal to closed interval AB. As it is continuous on a closed interval, it is bounded. Since f is continuous on the closed interval AB, it is bounded. Okay, it is bounded. Now let us take small m and capital M be an absolute minimum and absolute maximum of f. What we are taking? This small m is minimum, capital M means what? Suppose this is A, B, this is a function. We are considering this is small m and this is capital M. Now what we will show? We will show that to represent this small m, there is some number in closed interval I. Okay. Again, this capital M is image of some number in this closed interval I. So we will show that. Okay, small m is absolute minimum of function, capital M is absolute maximum of function. Now it is to be shown that there exist points C and D of interval I such that f of C is equal to M and f of D is equal to capital M. Now we will show there exist some points C and D satisfying f of Cm, f of D is equal to M. Then we can see that absolute minimum and absolute maximum is attained by this function. Okay. Now let us consider this case. Now let us first show this, and in similar manner we can say that this function, this second condition can be shown. So consider the case of absolute maximum. Okay, consider case of absolute maximum. Now we have to show that f of c is equal to m, but on the contrary, let us assume that f does not attain that capital M. So let us suppose that f does not attain its absolute maximum M for any x belongs to I. That is what we are considering, that is f of x is not equal to capital M for any x belongs to I. This condition is not satisfied. Let us assume it. Now let us construct another function. Now consider the function g of x is equal to 1 upon m minus g of x. Now m is not equal to f of x, m minus here f of x. Now m is not equal to f of x, so definitely this subtraction not equal to 0. And we are taking m as absolute maximum of function, so definitely m minus f of x is a positive quantity. And 1 upon positive number, so gx is positive here. Okay, now consider this function for all x belongs to I. Now obviously we can say that gx is a positive for all values of x in I. Here g of x is positive for all x belongs to I. Again, now we know that it is given that function fx is continuous. Now m is constant, so we can say that function gx is also continuous, and as fx is bounded, the function gx will be bounded on I. So we will write again the function gx is continuous and bounded. Okay, function gx is continuous and bounded in I. Now let us consider for this function gx, let us consider k is absolute maximum of g. Let k greater than 0 be its absolute maximum. As we have function gx is what? Continuous and bounded, so that function gx has absolute maximum and absolute minimum. So let us consider this k greater than 0, let us consider it is absolute maximum of function. As k is absolute maximum, means each value of this function is less equal k. Therefore 1 upon m minus fx is less equal k for all x belongs to I. What it implies? Let us simplify it from this. Let us take its reciprocal. So it will be m minus fx is what? It's greater than 1 upon k for all x belongs to I. Again, what it implies? Let us shift this m to, or let us subtract m from both hand sides. So this implies, let us subtract m, so it is minus f of x is greater than 1 upon k minus m. Okay, what this implies? Let us multiply by minus 1, so this inequality will reverse. So what we get? Fx is less equal m minus 1 upon k. Okay, minus of this means m minus 1 upon k. It is for all x belongs to I. Means what we get? Fx is less equal m minus 1 upon k. But we get contradiction here. Why we will get contradiction? Because we have assumed that capital M is absolute maximum of function. Okay, capital M is absolute maximum. Means the function fx has absolute maximum value. Fx has absolute maximum value capital M. And here we are saying that for each value of x, fx is less equal m minus 1 upon x. Means at certain point we are saying fx reaches to m. Okay, we assume that the maximum value of fx is m, and here we are saying that fx is less equal, m minus 1 upon k is definitely less than m, and here we are saying fx is less equal this quantity, means what? We get contradiction to our assumption that capital M is absolute maximum of f. So here we can say which contradicts the hypothesis that capital M is absolute maximum of f in I. Therefore, our assumption, what was our assumption? That f does not attain its absolute value, absolute maximum value, is wrong. Our assumption is wrong. Therefore, what we can say? F attains an absolute maximum value for at least one value in I. That is, there exists at least one point C belongs to I such that f of C is equal to capital M. And similarly, for absolute minimum value, we can prove. Similarly, it can be shown that the function also attains the absolute minimum value M for at least one value in I. Okay, that is proof of theorem. Next theorem. Let f is a function from R to R be continuous at C, and let f of C greater than 0, then there exists a neighborhood n delta C of C such that fx is greater than 0 for all x belongs to n delta C. What this statement says? Given function is continuous. Suppose this is graph of continuous function. Okay, it is continuous. Here it is said that it is continuous at point C. Let us consider this is point C. So at point C this function is, you can see there is no break, this function is continuous. And let f of C greater than 0. Okay, so this is C, this value will be f of C. F of C is greater than 0. Then there exists a neighborhood n delta C, means we can say n delta C. Take a delta neighborhood. There exists a delta neighborhood such that for this value of x, its image will be what? Greater than 0. If fc greater than 0, if f of c greater than 0, then there exists a neighborhood of C such that for all that values of x, that image f of x will be greater than 0. Okay, you can see here all these are, this is a positive graph. Okay, all these values are greater than 0. So let us prove it. So first of all, what is given? Function is continuous at point C. Since f is continuous at point C, and again what is given? F of C greater than 0. So we can take epsilon. What we need epsilon? Epsilon is any positive number. So let us take epsilon as f of C upon 2. If f is continuous at c, f of c greater than 0, it is positive. So f of c is positive, so f of c upon 2 is also positive. So let us take epsilon as f of c upon 2. So for epsilon is equal to this, there exists delta greater than 0 such that for this epsilon and delta, what is by definition of continuity? If mod of x minus c less than delta, then mod of f of x minus f of c is less than epsilon. Our epsilon is f of c upon 2. What this implies? By simplification, it means that what? It means that c minus delta is less than x less than c plus delta. Then if and only if, okay, it is sign of if and only if x is between these two, then after simplification we get here as f of c upon 2 less than fx less than 3f of c upon 2. And we know that this f of c upon, as f of c greater than 0, f of c upon 2 is also greater than 0. And what is this? X is between c minus delta to c plus delta. It means that x belongs to what? N delta c. Because c, what it means, x belongs to n delta c, same as x is between this range. If and only if x belongs to n delta c, then what you can see here, fx is greater than 0, 0 less than f of x. Okay, so which we want to prove. There exists a neighborhood n delta c of c such that fx greater than 0 for all x belongs to n delta c. So this last statement says if x belongs to n delta c, this neighborhood, then fx is greater than 0. Okay. Now let us prove another theorem, that is location of root theorem. Next theorem. Location of roots theorem. Its statement is, let I is equal to closed interval AB and let f is a function from I to R be continuous on R. Let fa less than 0 less than fb, or if fa greater than 0 greater than f of b, that is, in another words, fa and fb have opposite signs, or fa into fb less than 0, then there exists a number c belongs to open interval AB such that f of c is equal to 0. What is statement of location of roots theorem? Okay, this is our location of roots theorem. I is closed interval AB. F is a function from I to R which is continuous function. Let us consider this is AB. Okay, f is a continuous function on this interval AB. Suppose graph of function is like this. Consider, okay, graph is like this. So f is continuous. Let now in this case, what is fa? This is a, so this is fa. Okay, this is b, so this is fb. Okay, this b, its image is fb. In this case, fa is, it is 0, so fa is definitely this value, so fa is less than 0. Okay, and fb is greater than 0. Or it may also possible that graph is like this, means graph may be like, if it is AB, graph may be like this. Okay, now in this case it is AB, so this point is FA, this point is FB. In this case FA is greater than 0, 0 is greater than F of B. Okay, in either of these two cases, means what? In another words, FA and FB have opposite signs. In this case, FA has negative sign, FB has positive sign. In this case, FA has positive sign, FB has negative sign. Means both have opposite signs. Or we can say that as both have opposite signs, their product is negative. FA into FB is negative. If such case is there, then we have to prove there exists a number C belongs to open interval AB. Means there is a point C. Excluding this point A and B, there is a point C such that f of C is equal to 0. You can see this is a point C, f of C is 0. Here also f of C is equal to 0. Or you can consider another graph like, or suppose it is A, it is B, and graph is like this. Okay, graph is like this. This is f of this point f of A, this point f of B. You can see there is a certain point in closed interval such that its image is 0 because it is 0 here, so its image is 0. Okay, that is nothing but location of roots theorem. In next lecture we will prove this theorem. Now let's stop here. Thank you.